The midday sun bathed Fairmont Pines Golf Club in a golden hue, its manicured greens and ivory-clad pavilions sparkling like something out of an old money dream. It was the kind of place where names mattered more than faces, where whispered lineages carried more weight than loud declarations. Near the 12th hole, where the breeze made the tall oaks whisper secrets to one another, an older black man stood in relaxed concentration, lining up his next swing. His name was Mr. Leonard Turner, and with his slow, easy motion, he gently tapped the ball toward the distant flag, his club resting lightly in his gloved hands. That piece shattered abruptly when a battered security buggy skidded across the grass. A young white police officer, fresh-faced but hardened with assumptions, jumped off before the buggy even fully stopped. His hand gripped his taser like a reflex, and his voice cut across the green like a crack of thunder. "Drop the club. Hands where I can see them," the officer barked. "Mister." Turner paused, the club still casually in his hand. His voice, calm but firm, floated over the green. "I'm a member here." The cop sneered openly, making no effort to hide his disbelief. "Yeah, right. Next, you'll tell me you own the place." He jerked his head. "Turn around. Now." Before Mr. Turner could fully comply, the officer lunged forward, grabbing his arm roughly and slamming him onto the perfectly trimmed grass. The club clattered harmlessly nearby, and Mr. Turner's white-gloved hands were forced behind his back, cold steel snapping shut around his wrists. The scene unfolded in slow, awful motion. His golf ball, once aimed so carefully, rolled sadly into a nearby pond with a faint plop. Around them, several white onlookers watched, some smirking behind sunglasses, others exchanging low comments. One woman, her pearl earrings glinting in the sun, leaned over to another and muttered, "Typical. Always sneaking into places they don't belong." A younger guest lifted a phone, beginning to record. Before long, the club's general manager, a barrel-chested man in his 50s with slicked-back gray hair and a navy blazer embroidered with the Fairmont Pines crest, strode across the lawn, exuding an air of smug authority. "We've had problems before," he said loudly, looking down at Mr. Turner as if examining a stain. "He doesn't belong here. Probably slipped in somehow." The officer, eager for validation, nodded vigorously. "Loitering, resisting, trespassing," he said, ticking off imaginary charges like a practiced drill sergeant. "You don't want to make this worse for yourself, Mr. Parker." The manager jeered, mistakenly calling Mr. Turner the wrong name altogether. "Trust me, you'll regret this." Mr. Turner said nothing, lying still on the grass as the weight of indignity pressed down harder than the cuffs on his wrists. The manager laughed, a dry, humorless sound. "Oh, I think we'll be just fine," he said with finality. But fate had other plans. A commotion rippled through the parking lot. Heads turned as a sleek black Rolls-Royce Phantom glided to a stop in front of the clubhouse. The doors opened with slow, deliberate precision. Out stepped a young woman, Asian American, striking in her navy blue power suit and heels clicking against the pavement. A leather briefcase hung from her hand like a weapon. Behind her, two security agents in dark suits scanned the crowd with clinical precision. The woman strode toward the green without hesitation. Reaching the officer and manager, she pulled a badge from her pocket and flashed it like a blade. "You," she said sharply, addressing the officer, "have just unlawfully detained the owner of this entire property." The golf course, once a buzzing hive of whispers and judgment, fell utterly silent. Even the breeze seemed to die. "This man," the woman continued, voice rising just enough to carry, "is Mr. Leonard Turner, founder and sole proprietor of Turner Holdings, the group that owns Fairmont Pines Golf Club, along with 23 other luxury courses across the country." A collective gasp rippled through the assembled crowd. Phones came out, videos rolling. Faces paled. The officer's hand dropped from his taser. The manager's confident stance faltered, and for the first time, uncertainty crept into his eyes. Mr. Turner rose slowly, aided by a security staff, the handcuffs clinking softly. Once standing, the air around him seemed to shift, no longer the target of suspicion, but the undeniable center of gravity. His lawyer handed him a small microphone connected to a portable speaker, and with quiet authority, he addressed the stunned assembly. "You humiliated me, mister," Turner said, his voice deep and resonant. "On my land. In front of my people. In front of my community." He turned to his lawyer with a nod. "Effective immediately," she announced crisply, "this officer is permanently banned from all Turner Holdings properties. Furthermore, a $5 million racial discrimination lawsuit has just been filed against the Fairmont Pines Golf Club and local law enforcement." Murmurs grew into shouts. Some clapped. Others merely stared wide-eyed. "Mister." Turner turned his gaze on the manager, who now looked as if he wanted to sink into the earth itself. "And you, mister," Turner said, his voice like a closing door, "are not merely fired." At his signal, one of his security team handed over a thick manila folder. "Mister." Turner opened it with theatrical slowness. "You are blacklisted from every elite club on the East Coast. Your name has been circulated to our partners and affiliates. You will not work in this industry again." The manager's mouth opened and closed like a beached fish. Around them, the local press van, tipped off by an anonymous source, pulled onto the scene, cameras rolling, microphones thrust forward. "Mister." Turner turned to the cameras, standing taller than any man there. "This," he said, "is what happens when power is mixed with prejudice. When you treat a man like dirt, only to discover he owns the very ground you tread upon." He looked directly at the officer, who by now had taken a step back, his taser hanging uselessly at his side. "Remember this moment, mister," Turner said, voice unwavering. "Remember it the next time you look at a black elder and see a criminal instead of a king." The crowd roared its approval. Phones flashed. Some wept openly. Others simply stood, stunned by the reversal, by the sheer force of dignity reclaiming its place in a world all too eager to steal it. The officer slinked away under the glaring lenses of every camera in sight, his career in tatters before he even reached his squad car. Meanwhile, Mr. Turner stood amidst his people, not as a victim, but as a monument to resilience, a living testament that sometimes the ground you are kicked into is the very foundation from which you rise. And that day, across every screen, every whispered conversation in town, one truth spread louder than any hate. Respect is not a luxury reserved for the few. It is the rightful inheritance of all.